British naval aviation began its journey with HMS Furious, a ship never originally meant to carry aircraft. Laid down as a battle cruiser, she was converted in 1917 with a forward flying off deck, becoming the Royal Navy's first true carrier experiment. Later modifications added a landing deck aft, though the central superstructure created dangerous turbulence for landing pilots. Despite these hazards, Furious proved that operating aircraft from ships was not only possible but practical. Serving through the end of World War I and into the early 1920s, her flawed yet pioneering configuration laid the conceptual foundation for every British carrier that followed. The next evolutionary leap came with HMS Argus, commissioned in 1918. Converted from an Italian ocean liner, she became the world's first carrier with a full-length flush flight deck. With no island superstructure and exhaust vented out the stern, her clean deck allowed safer and unrestricted aircraft operations. This revolutionary layout validated the flush deck carrier concept and influenced carrier design globally. Argus would go on to serve primarily as a training carrier, shaping generations of naval aviators through World War II. Carrier design matured further with HMS Hermes, commissioned in 1924 as the first aircraft carrier built from the keel up. Though relatively small, she introduced defining features such as a starboard island superstructure, arresting wires, and an enclosed hangar deck. These innovations became global carrier standards. She served extensively in the Indian Ocean before being sunk by Japanese aircraft in 1942. Yet, her design blueprint lived on in carriers worldwide. That same year, HMS Eagle entered service, converted from a battleship hull originally intended for Chile. Larger and more capable, she carried a bigger air group and demonstrated the effectiveness of converting capital ship hulls into fleet carriers. She played a crucial role protecting Malta convoys before falling victim to a German U-boat in 1942. A stark reminder of carrier vulnerability beneath the waves. Interwar naval treaties forced Britain to improvise, leading to battlecruiser conversions like HMS Courageous. Commissioned as a carrier in 1928, she provided much-needed air power capacity. However, her sinking by a German submarine in 1939 made her the Royal Navy's first carrier loss of World War II, exposing the urgent need for better anti-submarine defenses. Her sister ship, HMS Glorious, followed a similar conversion path and served in the Norwegian campaign. But in 1940, she was caught at sea and sunk by German battleships Scharnhorst and Gneisenau. The loss shocked naval planners and underscored the dangers carriers faced without adequate escort protection. A major technological leap arrived with HMS Ark Royal 1938, Britain's first modern fleet carrier purpose-built for aviation warfare. With advanced aircraft handling systems, multiple elevators, and capacity for large air groups, she became one of the most effective carriers of the early war. She played a famous role in the hunt for Bismarck and in defending Malta convoys before being torpedoed in 1941. World War II then ushered in the armored carrier era through the illustrious class. HMS Illustrious herself introduced heavily armored flight decks and hangars designed to withstand direct bomb hits. Though this protection reduced aircraft capacity, it dramatically increased survivability, a trade-off that defined British carrier philosophy. Her sister, HMS Formidable, validated this doctrine in combat, surviving intense damage including kamikaze strikes. HMS Victorious served across multiple theaters and later underwent major Cold War modernization, extending her service life for decades. HMS Indomitable improved aircraft capacity while retaining armor protection, surviving both torpedo and suicide attacks during the war. The final wartime developments of this line, HMS Implacable and HMS Indefatigable, refined the balance between aircraft capacity and armor, representing the peak of Britain's wartime fleet carrier design. Recognizing the need for numbers as much as strength, Britain introduced the Colossus class and later Majestic class light fleet carriers. Smaller and simpler, these ships were built for rapid production, yet proved highly versatile. Many were transferred to Allied navies, extending British carrier influence worldwide well into the late 20th century. A specialized support role emerged through maintenance carriers like HMS Pioneer and HMS Perseus. Instead of operating large air groups, they functioned as floating aircraft workshops, repairing, refitting, and sustaining carrier aircraft close to combat zones, reducing the need for long returns to shore bases. Escort carrier operations became a vital lifeline during the Battle of the Atlantic. Smaller and slower than fleet carriers, ships like HMS Activity and HMS Nirana escorted convoys and maintained constant aerial patrols over vulnerable shipping lanes. Their aircraft hunted German U-boats, intercepted reconnaissance planes, and protected merchant vessels crossing the ocean. This capability was reinforced through American Lend-Lease support. Additional escort carriers, including HMS Audacity and HMS Avenger, expanded Britain's anti-submarine air umbrella across the Atlantic and Arctic. These modest ships played an outsized strategic role in defeating the U-boat menace. The jet age demanded larger and more advanced carriers. HMS Eagle, 1951, became Britain's first major post-war carrier designed for jet operations, featuring steam catapults and angled deck innovations. She served prominently during the Suez Crisis and Cold War deployments. Another new HMS Ark Royal followed in 1955, becoming Britain's premier Cold War strike carrier. Operating high-performance jets, she represented the peak of conventional British carrier aviation before her retirement in 1978 temporarily ended the nation's fixed-wing carrier capability. Budget pressures led to the Centaur class, including HMS Centaur, HMS Albion, and HMS Bulwark. Originally strike carriers, many were later converted into helicopter commando carriers, reflecting Britain's shift toward amphibious warfare and rapid troop deployment. A later and more famous ship, HMS Hermes, 1959, evolved into a V/ATOL carrier equipped with a ski jump ramp. She served as the British flagship during the 1982 Falklands War, where her Sea Harriers proved decisive. Sold to India as INS Virat, she remained in service until 2017, one of the longest carrier careers in history. Britain's return to carrier aviation took a new form with the Invincible class. HMS Invincible herself demonstrated the effectiveness of ski-jump-launched Sea Harriers during the Falklands conflict, achieving air superiority despite numerical disadvantage. Her sister ships, including HMS Illustrious and later HMS Ark Royal, continued global deployments for decades in strike, patrol, and helicopter operations. Modern British naval aviation culminates in the Queen Elizabeth-class supercarriers. HMS Queen Elizabeth, commissioned in 2017, is the largest warship ever built for the Royal Navy, operating F-35B stealth fighters from a ski jump deck and featuring an advanced twin-island superstructure. Her sister ship, HMS Prince of Wales, provides continuous dual carrier availability, ensuring Britain can project air power globally at all times. Together, these modern giants represent the culmination of more than a century of carrier evolution, a lineage that began with the experimental decks of HMS Furious and matured into some of the most advanced naval aviation platforms ever constructed.